Welcome back to the Drunk Rasslin Lounge. I'm your host, J.M. McCaffrey, and I am joined, as always, by the designated podcaster, Go Jonesy. Go, how you feeling?
Feeling great. I like it even better when you call me Go.
This is a bit of a strain. Good, because that's not going away anytime soon. This is a bit of an audible episode, Go, because last week we were supposed to be doing like a full comparison of the 4 pay-per-views that had happened since WrestleMania.
And we got way in the weeds, didn't we?
We got buried.
Yeah.
We got buried in the weeds.
I mean,
we only covered Money in the Bank and AEW.
Double or nothing. That's right.
And so now this week we are back to discuss the other 2, which
NXT
is
in your
NXT
house.
in Your House and WWE Backlash.
Yeah.
So, shall we get started?
Let's do this, man.
What do you...
I'm glad we just now looked up the card, though.
Hold on.
We're professionals.
Hold on.
Look at this.
Are you loading up? Wow. That chunk. I wish... Hold on, show that. This is not...
Ice.
How ice works.
Ice, baby.
Oh, man.
This is going to be a good night, guys.
It's already a good night.
I hope you guys like us.
It's already a good night.
All right, so NXT in Your House.
Yep.
Kicks off with women's match, gauntlet match. No, that's the last. God damn it! Never mind.
Man, there's all kinds of...
NXT in
All right,
Your
here
House.
we go. Yeah, there's a bunch that I couldn't find. Well, actually, so I was still finding the first things that came up were all still like preview stuff. Nothing that was like a review or a recap or anything.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Anyway, all right. I got you. So we open with the 6-man tag team match: Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez.
Raquel
Versus Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart, and Tegan Knox.
I like Shotzi Blackheart.
Shotzi Blackheart is great. I really like Dakota Kai.
Yeah, I do too.
My complaint with Dakota Kai, my thought on Dakota Kai, I don't buy her gimmick at all. It just seems so gimmicky. Like, oh, I'm a mean girl. Oh, I'm a badass.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not. You're Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
You know, and
she had a great heel turn at War Games last year.
She had a great heel turn.
Because her and Tegan Knox are both New Zealanders.
Yep.
They came up together. They were best friends.
Yep.
And she churned on her. And it was a cool wrinkle to a War Games match. But it feels to me like they never went anywhere else with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they both...
That's a problem with NXT a little bit because, like, to go anywhere else with it, you have to be... like in a title picture, like they don't do they don't do a good job developing undercard feuds. I don't think.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. I think that's kind of a problem that stems from like early on because almost like you were never sure who was going to get called up, and you think you would think that would affect the main event more than it would the undercard, but it doesn't.
Right? Yeah. You think
like I remember specifically Elias left in the middle of a feud and showed up on Raw, and the feud on NXT was just done.
Yeah, and that you're probably going to see less and less of that with the current state of NXT, and we'll get into that more. But so those women did a good job.
They did a good job. They were fine. The match overall was solid, if a little spotty. What I did want to bring up, man, Mia Yim, I feel like is head and shoulders above everybody else.
You are absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
She is ready.
She's ready. She's so good.
She's ready because we're going to get to the main event, and those 3 women are, one's Charlotte Flair, but like the other 2 women are fucking outstanding, and Mia Yim can be inserted right into that.
Yep, she's good in the ring. She's good in the ring, and she carries herself with a character and a gimmick that, like, I believe that's how Mia Yim is walking down the street.
Right.
And that's the difference between, like, her and Dakota Kai.
Yep.
Like, Dakota Kai, I feel like if I met Dakota Kai on the street, she would be like, "Hi, I'm Dakota Kai. Have you ever?" And she'd be wearing something flowery and you know and cool chick. I'd high five her and buy her a drink or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't mean that in like I'd buy her a drink. I meant that in like let's go fucking
do
hang
a shot.
out.
Or
Yeah.
Let's be dudes.
I feel like if I ran into Mia Yim on the street, she'd be like, "What up, Blasian, baddest bitch in the house," and like just like she is on TV. I feel like if I ran into her at a bar, that's who she's gonna be.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just how I feel.
That did stick out. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Like Mia Yim is ready and capable and
Shotzi Blackheart too. I think
not.
I don't want to put her on the same level as Mia.
Right. I think Shotzi's a little greener.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to do her well to be in NXT for a little bit, but I think for sure we will see her in the next 2 years in WWE.
And I worry about that because she reminds me so much of Ember Moon.
Yeah.
And like a little out there, real
great.
Physical, real good.
Ember Moon's really good.
Yeah, but it never seems like the WWE knows quite what to do with that kind of personality.
Yeah.
So like it worries me a little bit for her to get called up. Yeah. Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully they figure that out.
Next was Finn Balor versus Damian Priest.
You remember in the last episode when we said Johnny Cage?
Yeah.
It's not Johnny Cage. His name's
Brian Cage.
Brian Cage is the most indie name of all time.
Damian Priest is
Damian
number 2.
Priest.
I've wrestled Damian Priest, and it wasn't this guy.
That's what I mean.
Yes. I'm agreeing with you 100%. But I mean, I have wrestled other Damian Priests.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the most indie name of all time. There's nothing wrong with that, but set yourself apart. Be
right.
And him in there with Finn Balor's not going to have a bad match with anything, any object on the planet.
Right.
He's not going to have a bad match. It's not doing Damian Priest any favors to go out there and have a passable match with Finn Balor.
Right.
Which is what this was.
Right.
There were not great stakes. I haven't been watching a lot of NXT, but like I can say, they didn't sell me on this match before the match got in the ring.
Yeah. I feel like Damian Priest is going to get called up, and he's going to get big pushes, and he's got good size, and he's got a...
He's got a good look.
I don't think he has a good look. I think he has I don't think he has a bad look, but I think he has an unfamiliar look. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to get... Look. Yeah. I think he's probably going to get pushed. And he is not good. He is his green shows through so much. And even just in NXT, I feel like he's been around too long to look as green as he does.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Go to the next one.
The next one you got a lot of thoughts on. You know what? Before we move on, I want to say that while I have not necessarily been keeping week to week on NXT, I feel like Finn Balor is being wasted. And I say that in that I was excited for Finn Balor to go to NXT because I was like, wow, Finn Balor will go to NXT and he'll run NXT and he'll be a big name that will help them against AEW, when they're running head to head. And I don't feel like that's what's happened. I feel like he got shuffled down to NXT and then has even fallen into the mid card of NXT and that's disappointing to me, even if I like it. You know what I mean?
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and think that we're going to have a 6-month run where Finn Balor and Adam Cole wrestle.
Finally come up and come together.
Yeah,
and maybe so.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't want him to jump right in there and get it because there were guys who were ready for that, like Dream. We're gonna get there. But
yep.
I even want to say Pete Dunne. Like Pete Dunne deserves that spot for a minute just to see what's going on.
Yeah, I see that.
So
I guess everything we can look and say too that everything is still kind of up in the air, or on holding patterns because of the pandemic, anyway. All right, maybe so.
Yeah.
Next, Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Championship.
They need to just bring Keith Lee up already and see what he's made of.
You think?
Yeah. He's not doing NXT any favors.
Okay.
He sticks out like a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm.
This match here showcased what I've griped about, what we've griped about a lot with Keith Lee. He's a face, but he's still a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other gripe about this match. Johnny Gargano, for me, not a heel.
Right.
He had some good moments in this match, but fuck.
Yeah.
Let's make him a face. He needs to come from underneath. That's what he's best at.
Even they try to turn it Gargano heel, and like his heel turn doesn't feel heel turnish to me. Like they show him at home with his beautiful wife being
Who's
like
also now a heel.
Who's and they might be a little nasty and a little arrogant, but like they don't feel like bad guys. Like
right.
What am I supposed to like about Johnny Gargano? That he's athletic, that he works real hard, that he's passionate, that he's that his wife is attractive, that he spends time with his wife, that they have like a good home life, and that they're both having heel turns at the same, like they're both on the same page. Like, I wish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
right.
I wish. Who's gonna boo that? You know?
Exactly.
And then what? Just because he's got a couple of, he says a couple of things that are kind of arrogant. Like, no, we're Americans. We like arrogance. Like, sorry guys.
Yeah. If Keith Lee's gonna make it, I want to see him make it. Like, I don't think there's anything more he's got to offer NXT.
I think the opposite, but the same. I don't think he has anything more to offer. I guess maybe calling him up. Yeah, I guess when I think of calling him up, I think, call him up, let him do something. But no, he probably needs to he needs to be called up and be treated like an undercard guy trying to work his way to the top.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I need to see Keith Lee.
It's not going to last long because
cut his way to the top.
Yeah. It's
but
not going to last long.
I don't think he has. I don't think he has it, man. I think I've ended up all the way out on Keith Lee.
Yeah.
I was iffy on Keith Lee, but the further we get, I don't see. I feel like he's just doing the same thing that he was doing when he first came in. Like the first night I saw him, he was doing the bask in my glory thing, and he hasn't changed, and his work hasn't changed, and he hasn't gotten better. And this match was perfectly fine, but it had that rehearsed quality to it. It just looked like ballet.
My point, like, if he's going to be in NXT for his career, he'll be fine. If he's going to make that jump, I want to see it now, and I want to see how he bridges that gap.
Okay.
Like, I like Keith Lee a ton.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that watches this or listens. But I feel like he's at a point where nothing else is going to help him in NXT. Because he's going to work with Johnny Gargano. He's going to work... I mean, these guys are great wrestlers. But I want to see Keith Lee wrestle Drew McIntyre. I want to see him wrestle guys that size.
So I have no interest in that.
Well,
I mean, not now. Like I want
size guy, but
I want him to get good before he's working Drew McIntyre.
I think he is.
Drew McIntyre is the best in the world right now.
He's great.
Keith Lee is struggling to be the best in NXT. I think he's far from it personally, but
yeah, he's not the best in NXT. But that's a deep pool. So let's go to the next one.
The next one is the Backlash Brawl with Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream.
Nice. So this is another overproduced match.
Yep.
Which they really went hard after it, and Velveteen shows up in a Lamborghini.
Yep.
He shows up dressed as Negan from the fucking Walking Dead with a Rodman airbrush on the back of his leather jacket, baseball bat. Adam Cole shows up in a monster truck, which is hilarious for all kinds of reasons. But the chase part of this match, which, okay, so they tangle a little bit, and then Velveteen chases Adam Cole.
Right.
He goes and disappears into different, buildings and stuff on the set that they're in. And then, obviously, the Undisputed Era gets involved, and then all of a sudden, Dexter Lumis just comes out from under the ring and abducts the rest of Undisputed Era.
Yeah, beats him up, throws him in the trunk.
Which is a huge slingshot.
Steals that car and drives off.
Yeah. Nobody ever reported it. Which is a huge, boost for that guy. And the first time I saw that guy just on NXT, I was like, there might be something here. But why are they throwing that against the wall already? Because you're talking about your two biggest stars. Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream.
Right.
Velveteen Dream has, in my opinion, no more business in NXT. He needs to be on the main roster.
I think Velveteen... I'd be interested to see what Velveteen looks like in a top spot run on NXT. Because they started to do that and then he got hurt. And now he's back and they're not really pulling the trigger because he's doing the stuff with the Undisputed Era. Right? Mm-hmm. And I think he needs... I think a lot of guys are getting hot-shotted from NXT because the WWE doesn't understand what's happening on NXT.
Right.
And so, guys get a huge following, and they're like, let's hot-shot them to Raw, and we need some of that on Raw. And these guys aren't actually ready to be on Raw, right? No Way Jose and Adam Rose. Specifically, two guys who got pretty popular and were doing their thing, and they got called up to Raw, and within 3 weeks, they're just the job guy with a trail of guys who come out and dance with rosebuds or the fucking conga line, right? Yeah. So and not that there's anything wrong with being that guy, except that I think both those guys have potential for more, except that they weren't allowed to grow and develop. NXT is where you're supposed to figure that shit out. And so I think that, for Velveteen, I think if Velveteen gets called up, he's going to come out, he's going to get a big reaction, and before the end of the month, he's going to be the dress like Hogan this week, dress like Negan this week, dress like Goldberg next week, dress like Stone Cold, dress like Bret Hart tonight. Oh, dress like, you know what I mean? And he'll do that until people are sick of seeing him, and then he'll be the released guy. I think he needs a run. I think they need to put him in a top spot where he can figure out what the Velveteen Dream looks like as the
guy,
flag waver, the banner carrier, you know, whatever, as the guy, right? And once he figures that out, then call him up and let him start chopping through WWE. Because, what are they going to do with him as the Velveteen Dream? He's just going to show up. He's put him in a mid-card guy, and if they don't understand what he can be, he's just going to become the Velveteen gimmick. Yeah.
That might be right, man. I feel like he's got enough there where it would transcend that, but you might be right.
But the Revival didn't transcend that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Plenty of examples of that.
Yeah. Right. So that's
you thought that would be the case, but
yeah. I mean, fuck, man. Finn Balor barely transcended that. I don't know that he did transcend that. He had a little bit of a different run than Adam Rose or a No Way Jose, but
definitely a different run. I mean, he was first Universal Champion,
and then he went away for 6 months, and then he came back, and what did he do when he came back?
Right. Same thing he did for 4 years.
Right.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Next. Oh, before we move on from the Backlash Brawl, I also want to point out two things. One, more of the I was bitching about last week where they just kind of do stuff, set up stuff without a punchline. At one point, an Uber showed up, and they were like, somebody call for an Uber, and there was no punchline to that.
Right.
They fought into
through it.
Right, they fought through that car, and then it drove off. You know, there was no punchline to that.
Yeah.
And also, what about Mauro Ranallo just totally dad-splaining the fucking Dexter joke?
Yeah.
Like
Sure
Dexter,
did,
Dexter Loomis.
Yeah.
You're
just
named
stalking him like the serial killer from that Showtime series.
Right, you know, like thanks. We had it.
We understand.
Now you made it stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we get it.
Yeah, we understood the reference. Now you made it bad, Mauro. I hate Mauro Ranallo. I think Mauro Ranallo. I understand why he has a job. I understand because he's Michael Cole 2.0. He is completely dry. He is completely competent at his job.
No, he's
yeah,
not
hear me
dry.
out. Hear me out. He has a good voice.
Yeah.
He is completely competent at his job. He has no personality as to get in the way of him shilling for Skittles and the other sponsors and the WWE app. And don't forget about the network. And make sure you check out WWE.com where we do live after the match stuff. And you can always find us on YouTube. And we post, like, you know what I mean? Like there's no personality that will get in the way of that shit when they're ready to make him Michael Cole 2.0.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
But I think he fucking sucks.
I don't think that'll ever happen. He's way too excitable. He's way too into it. He is.
Well, yeah, they got
all over it.
That's why he's still at NXT. They got to weed all that bullshit out of him.
I don't think they will.
Before they can bring him up to SmackDown or Raw. All right, next is Karrion Kross versus Tommaso Ciampa.
That's your deal, dude.
Okay. Let's talk about fucking Karrion Kross's punk ass. Has there been a more generic motherfucker show up? A more generic WWE guy in the last fucking 20 years of wrestling?
He got a big introduction.
He got a big introduction.
Huge.
They gave him huge. He had fucking smoke, and his music is.
I mean, he just cut off a match one time just with a video wall thing.
Oh, did he? I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
I don't.
I'm
That
coming,
was.
TikTok.
Oh
You know,
no, he did. Well, he did that shit at the end of the Triple H Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano thing. Didn't he
Yeah.
interrupt that?
Yeah.
It's dumb, and it totally did not pay off. Now, the first thing I thought when I saw this motherfucker appear is like, if I didn't know it was 2020, I would assume we were 3 weeks away from seeing this guy wrestle Undertaker, and about 6 months away from seeing this guy debut on TNA. Right? He's got the big production. He's got, they're bringing him out. They're making him a big deal. He fucking smoked Tommaso Ciampa, who should be
Killed him.
the fucking standard bearer for NXT.
Yeah.
He fucking smoked him. But he's not, man. He's not. He's bald head. He's everything. He's bald headed, black tights, black boots. Everything that Stone Cold was, with none of the personality.
No.
And they're giving him this half-ass Undertaker presentation, and he's got the wife deal happening, right? Mm-hmm. Wife, girlfriend, whatever, and she's got a great look, and she adds to the package, and he is, I mean, he's big and he's built, but he didn't even come out with he didn't even have a trench coat or sunglasses or a wacky hat.
Yeah.
Like he just fucking walks out there.
He didn't have a scarecrow hat on.
Right. He didn't have nothing, man.
There's no pleasing
He's got
you,
nothing.
Jaren.
No, and his work sucked. His work was.
I don't think it sucked. It was generic.
It was okay. Listen, showing my work. Mm-hmm. Okay, showing. Stumbling. Okay, here we go. Karrion Kross sucks. You say lackluster, generic. He was out there with Tommaso Ciampa. If you look lackluster and generic against Tommaso Ciampa, how are you going to look when they stick you with Keith Lee or, heaven forbid, somebody like fucking Corbin, Baron Corbin, or fucking any of those Damian Priest, like those guys who actually aren't good, right? And you've only got generic work with Tommaso. If you can't look good against Tommaso Ciampa, how are you going to look against guys who actually can't work? You're going to suck, though.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Like,
right.
Squashing Ciampa. I don't disagree with you. I just the benefit of the doubt is he was generic, and that's what he was doing.
It's bad. And that was like the pre-main. So the full main
was good.
Was triple threat. Yeah. Io Shirai against Charlotte Flair against Rhea Ripley.
And we talked about this back Mania. And you said Charlotte's going to elevate that division.
Mm-hmm.
She wins that NXT championship. Man, did she. Boy, this match. Charlotte and Rhea stole the show at Mania.
Absolutely.
And it was the best match in the ring on that show.
They were my favorite match of the whole weekend.
Yeah, that wasn't a movie.
Yeah, not counting the I mean, the only thing that came in, the only thing I liked watching more than them was the Boneyard match.
Yeah.
And I mean, even, like...
Incredible.
Right.
Incredible. Rhea Ripley's 23 years old.
Yeah.
She's going to be a star for a long-ass time. And Charlotte Flair's...
Not that much old. Not enough older.
For my money, she's the best wrestler on the planet right now.
Okay. I would super disagree with that.
I know you would.
But she is a huge star, and she's good. And she's brought something to NXT that they didn't have before.
Right. And this entire match, you did not watch any second of this match thinking Io Shirai was where this was going.
Right. This
match was between Charlotte and Rhea. Yep. Triple threat. It was between them. Io would get in there every now and again, do her thing, which she's fucking phenomenal at.
Mm-hmm.
And then she ends up being the winner.
Yep.
And it frees up Charlotte to go back to one of the main shows where they need her. And it frees up Rhea to be a foil for Io,
Maybe.
Just incredible. It was a great match.
It was... Oh, excuse me. It was a very good match. I'm a little disappointed to see Io walk away with that championship because I think there was more mileage with Charlotte. And we talked about several times.
Too quick from her.
Yeah. And we talked about several times around WrestleMania how I hoped that Charlotte would beat Rhea and hang on to that belt for a year.
Yeah.
And then next year we would get the rematch.
Yeah.
They could still do that?
Yeah.
It won't be
the same stakes.
Well, I was never opposed that Charlotte could drop that belt and get it back in that year. Mm-hmm. She didn't have to be the champ for a full year.
Right, yeah.
But the fact that they've already gone back to throwing Rhea in that triple threat, the fact that they've already dropped the belt off her, it makes me think that they're probably kind of shotgunning some stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that's pandemic.
Well, they won her
driven,
for Asuka. I mean, they won her for Asuka on that show on Raw.
Maybe, but Asuka doesn't need her, and we've seen her with Asuka more than once.
Right.
I mean, you're probably right. You're probably right.
Over Asuka yet,
you're probably right.
But at the same time, and my complaint was Charlotte should have made Io a star. She didn't, though. Io beat Rhea. You know what I mean? In that triple threat world, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But, Charlotte never did anything with Io.
Right. And so
Io did not get any of that rub. She just came out looking like the dark hair horse out of that match,
Yep. And so we'll probably get some more Charlotte Io before she goes anywhere.
So. Yeah.
And if Charlotte is able to win it back and maybe redirect and maybe we'll get, I don't know, maybe maybe they'll drag it out before we go back to Charlotte Ripley again. And I'm not going to complain about that. That my initial feeling on Io winning that is like, ooh, I wanted to see more Charlotte Rhea before we did this.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll take a different turn where Charlotte and Rhea Ripley will go feud for the number one contendership, and we'll see that kind of.
That'd be awesome.
Now now they don't need the belt, so they're going to go do that.
Which
that'd
be great too.
Right, I can't disagree with that. Because
you want to see that for a women's feud anyway, because all of them center around the championships.
Yep. So it's always good. Well, I think too it's a sign of like women's, like I feel right now like women's wrestling is where it's at.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody's going to argue. That's not my hot take. That's just my statement.
Right,
you know,
sure.
Like so it's good to start seeing feuds that don't involve
that's
the championship.
What they need,
you know, and and running parallel to like somebody having the championship and defending it, and that's
Absolutely.
like the sign that it arrived. I had this. I was talking about this the other day.
Excuse me.
I always look at. Oh gosh, I can't remember her name. Who is Mandy Rose's partner?
Oh, Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville. I always look at her as the sign that women's wrestling has arrived, because now that women's wrestling is good enough to have girls that aren't any good on full-time payroll, that's what we've had with guy wrestlers for years.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see that.
But anyway.
All right, that's that pay-per-view.
That's that pay-per-view. How you feel about that pay-per-view?
That was fine.
So what we didn't talk about with that pay-per-view is all the throwback in your house retro fun stuff.
I totally forgot about this. So the first time I watched any of it, my daughter was like, "Hey, come on, watch some of this. Charlotte Flair's about to wrestle." I was like, "Okay, well, I'll watch Charlotte Flair." I was making dinner or whatever. And I come in there, and fucking Todd Pettengill is on screen hawking merch.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And then in the middle of the thing, he's like, dial our 900 number. And then they cut to fucking Road Dogg, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels trying to figure out an old school computer. Right?
Right.
Hilarious. Like, not even a fun joke for the new generation, but for me, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because that's always what that shit was. Every time I saw Todd Pettengill on a pay-per-view, it was hawking a fucking 900 number and somebody sitting in front of a computer screen who'd never seen one. It was like,
Well, yeah. I was cracking up. They kept going back to showing different people eating the ice cream bars or the WWE ice cream sandwiches, whatever they were. I was cracking up about that. I was like, do they even have those right now?
No,
like,
man.
Is that a thing, or is they just...
CM Punk tried to bring those back. Remember, like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
It didn't work then.
Right.
Because they weren't good.
Yep. So
but, you love ice cream.
Who doesn't love ice cream? I do love ice cream.
It's fine.
I do.
Nobody
love
loves as much as this guy.
I mean, Chad, maybe.
My wife.
Your wife.
My wife. You and Chad.
That was a fun thing. I wish all that had been on a better pay-per-view, I think. Because I didn't get to...
I loved the set, though, man. Like the
set was fun,
awesome.
man. It was that old...
Yeah.
I didn't.
House set.
I didn't bitch about how mad I was that Johnny Gargano... Now that you mentioned the set, because Johnny Gargano came through the house, and he had the key,
and he put it in his
trunks. And, like... Fine, that's funny, except that the referee is supposed to check for that shit. And not only did the referee not check for that shit or get the key from him, then, like, he pulled it out and stabbed fucking Keith Lee in the eye with it. Like, you
Why
know?
wouldn't you?
Like, oh, so apparently we're all fucking idiots now, and Johnny Gargano can just blatantly...
You can't find every key, Jaron.
But they watch. He made a show... of sticking it in, even if
ref wasn't out there.
Even if it had been something like, I probably would have appreciated it, even if it had been something like he came out of the door, and then like did his normal stuff and very like nonchalantly stuck it in. But he made like a show. He pulled his trunks way out. I saw his pubes. He dropped the key all the way in,
pubes.
then let the trunks like snap back and fucking jiggle it around. I could see the outline of the key on his junk. Like I saw all of it. You know what I mean?
With my own goddamn eyes.
If it had been something like a little more subtle and then come back to play in, I probably would have been a fan of it.
Right.
But I think that's like one of the things that has completely gone out of wrestling is any of the subtlety.
Yeah.
So that's one of my complaints.
Yeah. Sure. I get that.
All right.
Backlash. Right?
Before Backlash.
Oh.
I think we ought to do a tasting.
Oh, fuck. Let's do one.
What do you want to taste?
I don't care.
What do you got? We got all kinds of choices.
I bought some of this.
Oh,
I've been
you
looking forward to this. The Whistler.
Whistler? Whistler? What do we got in the Whistler?
It's a Irish whiskey.
Okay.
Distiller Select Double Oaked.
Double oak.
Aged in bourbon barrels, then sherry casks.
That sounds.
Look at you.
That sounds pretty.
I saw that.
I'm rinsing, bro.
Somebody didn't.
I don't want any of our last tasting to influence this tasting.
I'm glad we're doing this. All right. The Whistler looks good. It's one I've had my eye on.
Had your eye on it for a while?
Yeah, it went on sale.
You mean you paid extra for it?
Yeah, we don't make any money off this podcast, by the way. So
smells very whiskey.
Doesn't smell.
It's a lot of. I smell a lot of that Irish whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to call it.
It's a bite.
It's a bite. I can smell the Irish whiskey bite, and it's a little, almost like, not funk, not skunk, but there's a little like dankness that comes with the whiskey.
Sure.
With the Irish whiskeys, I think that I'm getting, but I'm getting a little bit of that like herbal kind of
herbal
tea. Like a tea spice note to it.
It's in there.
And normally I only pick that up with...
More so than...
Normally I pick that up with more like a bourbon.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's different. I can taste... I can taste the sherry come through on that.
Yeah, for sure.
I can taste the sherry sort of flowery notes of a sherry. Mm-hmm. Way more than like the bourbon is supposed to be.
The bourbon's not like much there for me.
I feel like the bourbon's on the nose.
Yeah,
that tea smell. I feel like that those tea herbs I smell. But the taste is all. It's very thin. It's very light. It doesn't burn.
No,
there's no.
No,
there's no bite. There's no alcohol to it.
I could drink this regularly. Like it's not a. It's not cheap enough to be a Jameson's. But not that Jameson's is cheap,
Yeah. There's those floral notes.
You guys can't see this. One
bourbon barrel.
Bourbon barrels. 2 sherry casks.
Oh, it's got the.
We got the directions. We can make our own whenever we
got
want.
The sign Get in there. Right on it. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, Jonesy.
I was a little more excited for it than what it ended up being.
Well,
what all these pay-per-views were.
Nobody blames you, man. It's.
What are we doing now, man?
You know what it is, man.
We spent the entire night talking about pay-per-views.
It's Backlash, brother.
Yeah,
you're excited
for something.
We're here. We're here because of you, bro.
We are.
Yeah.
For me.
For you.
Love it.
This was your call.
All right. Can we just skip to the end then? Or?
Nope. We got to discuss Backlash.
All right. Fine.
Pulling up the card here.
The end's the best.
Shh. Ring announcers.
Good God
all the
Almighty.
Ring announcers are there.
Oh, good. Okay, it starts with a women's tag team championship match. It's crisscross applesauce or whatever.
Oh, I don't know what this fucking
deal is. It's Nikki Cross, Nikki Cross, Lexi Bliss, and versus the Iconics versus Bailey and Sasha.
Yep. How good are the Iconics?
Man,
I feel like.
Well, how good are they at one thing?
What's that?
Being awesome.
I think the Iconic. I think the Iconics are great. I think they let them get a little too annoying early on. It was that weird kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Explain.
So it was that weird.
Sometimes it interrupts stuff.
No, you're good. I feel like they let them get too girly. And that's a weird thing to say, but I feel like, when you've got a bunch of dudes running a thing and some women come in and they're like, hey, we're going to be screamy and annoying to get over, then like screamy and annoying just kind of became the only thing they ever were set up to do.
I got you.
And they're way better than that.
Yeah,
and we see now, I felt like in this, recently we've seen a little more where like they're still kind of annoying. Like they're not, like the gimmick hasn't changed at all, but they're not being forced to do. Yeah. Well, and it's not so shrill. And the difference, like remember when Michelle McCool and Layla were doing the Mean Girl thing and like the Piggy James thing, and like Mickey James cried in the ring and like ran out because she was so embarrassed. Like that's dudes booking chicks.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Iconics got dragged into that kind of thing early on a little bit, and they're way better than that, and we're kind of seeing now how much better they deserve than that.
I can see that. Because they're great. They're a blast to watch. They're a lot of fun.
Right.
And the Triple Threat was a lot of fun.
Triple Threat was decent. Yeah. I find I'm going to go ahead and bring it up here, and because we haven't talked about it yet, but we talked a little bit about it with the AEW Double or Nothing, but on these shows, now we've moved from no crowd to now we have like the fake crowd.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
And we haven't discussed that much.
No.
We had the fake crowd all through the NXT in your house. We mentioned to AEW.
Couple of Raws,
they were kind of like, we mentioned to AEW. I called them the Rosebuds.
Yep.
Because they were all in crazy hats and costumes and stuff. They're not doing that here. It's like they've all showed up in their NXT t-shirt and uniform. Their fucking Performance Center uniform.
They cut to Casey Catanzaro every time they can, though.
Right.
Yeah. Because she was on American Ninja.
Yes. Well, she's a celebrity.
Yeah. Every time they can, they cut to her.
I hate it.
Yeah?
Hate it, dude. It sucks me out of it immediately. Well, not immediately. At first, it just kind of sounds like background noise, crowd noise, and I'm kind of okay with that. It's just familiar. It just makes everything seem a little more normal. Anytime they start a chant, anytime there's a big reaction, anything like that, it sucks me out immediately, and probably I need to own some of that, because a big part of what sucks me out is that I instantly go, fuck you, Vince McMahon. You can't tell me how to feel. You can't tell me how to react. I don't give a fuck what your plant crowd is chanting. This is awesome. No, this sucks. So there's a big part of me that just resents the idea of the WWE trying to lead my emotion through the crowd.
Yeah.
But I hate it.
That's
I hate
there,
it.
man. Like, it's especially there through these matches. Man, they really went to town on that in this one, though. Like, we have a crowd now. This is our crowd.
Yep.
But, they've done that for a couple of Raws and SmackDowns, But,
yeah, I mean, a few.
Yeah. Old camp.
Stuff's all right.
It's fine.
It's better than the old camp is better than the very old what is this stuff? The very old Barton.
Everything's better than the very old Barton. Except for the mellow corn.
The mellow corn is great.
Like and subscribe.
I still like the mellow corn.
Whatever. You don't either.
All right, next. Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus.
Why?
Because you wanted to talk about the whole pay-per-view.
Oh, my God. So, Jeff Hardy pees a lot, right? On SmackDown.
A gallon, dude. They're doing the whole this. So the storyline is just terrible. They're doing the whole deal where like Sheamus,
Jeff Hardy's a drunk again,
right? And Sheamus has tried to set him up, and now Sheamus is going to make him pass a piss test. They don't even piss test for alcohol, but whatever. So we're piss testing Jeff Hardy.
They're checking his ketones.
They have the big, like, so he can piss in front of a doctor in the ring in front of Sheamus. And I only saw that this was on a SmackDown or Raw or whatever. I only saw it on like the recap, and like Jeff Hardy goes into the little booth thing, and they hand him the fucking jar, and when he hands it back, it's a fucking. Dude,
it's an apple juice.
It's an apple. It's more than it's an apple juice that you would buy at the store. It's a half gallon of fucking urine that he hands back to this fucking doctor.
Yeah, he does.
And of course
that's
we know
what kicks off this entire match.
Of course we know what's coming is Sheamus gets the urine in the face, and I loved that they slow-moed it, and so you could see every single ounce
particle of
this
urine
gallon wash over Sheamus's face. I may be fetishizing it a little too much.
Whoa,
but
that's weird. You called it though.
It was the only part of this that it was so weird, man, and it was so awkward.
The match was weird. The match was fine. But
the match was Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus.
Yeah.
Both those guys are entirely competent, and the match was entirely competent.
Yeah.
But nothing interesting happened in the match at all.
The only thing it told me was I want to see more of heel Sheamus. Like that monster heel Sheamus that we saw when he debuted. That's all I want.
Okay, so I'm fine with him going back to that.
Yeah.
But like I've seen plenty of that.
I understand, but like I want to see him challenge for the championship. Like if somebody's going to hold over Braun Strowman until Bray Wyatt comes back, I would like to see it be Sheamus.
Ugh.
I don't want to see Braun Strowman wrestle anybody.
So, okay. So when you say that, when you say I want to see Sheamus,
no right answer.
I want to see no, there is a right answer. I am absolutely all in on Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. Give me 6.
They'll beat the fuck out of each other.
Yeah, give me
I'm
6.
all in on that.
Give me
too.
6 months of that.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
However,
However,
Sheamus versus Braun Strowman, I don't even want a month of that.
if somebody's going to hold him over, I'd like it to be a guy who's good.
Well, there's a handful of guys who are good that can hold him over. That fine, I'll take it, but
nothing's ever going to be good enough.
Exactly. Braun Strowman can eat all this shit, and I say this now, man. And I was like a Braun Strowman fan. Like I remember watching Braun Strowman when he was feuding Roman Reigns and Kane, and he pulled that grappling hook out of one of the fucking totes and pulled a wall down on top of him, dude. I was like, I'm all in on fucking Braun Strowman for this. Well, sorry. I was like, I'm all in on Braun Strowman for this. This is fucking great.
He's got grappling hooks and totes.
Yeah. And, like, did he hide that there? Do they normally have that shit?
Why do we got all these totes?
To keep
our moving?
Where else do you want to keep our grappling hooks?
Right. All right, next match.
Speaking of, the next match is Braun Strowman versus John Morrison and The Miz in a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Well, The Miz and John Morrison are fun as fuck.
They are fun as fuck, and this match was total garbage.
Yeah. Them being fun as fuck could not unfuck this match.
And why would we think that it could? Absolutely cannot.
I don't know.
Braun Strowman.
Because of star power, I guess.
Braun Strowman is bad.
He's not bad.
He's
Throw some of that in there. Oh, that's your backwash. Never mind. I'll wait till you open it
up. It's not my backwash.
This motherfucker over here. Braun Strowman's fine.
Hold on, let me see.
He should not be the champion. Yeah. Good call. Good call. One exploded at dinner.
They don't want to know that. They want to know what we think about Braun Strowman.
Dinner.
I like The Miz. John Morrison can suck it. Braun Strowman, I used to like, but now he can suck it. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this match until I watch it, but it sucks.
All right. It wasn't great.
This match was it was
a joke. It was an attraction match. It was a silly match.
So watching the build up to this match,
Braun Strowman's an accidental champion.
Watching the build up to this match, I was way more interested in the storyline than I ever could have been the match.
Music video?
The music video was amazing. The music video was amazing. They were like pulling pranks on Braun Strowman, but here's the thing. We kind of talked about this last week with R-Truth. This comedy stuff, you're not going to get me jacked up to see Braun Strowman fight two dudes who
are hilarious.
Yeah, right. You know. Yeah. Even more with this,
it's the same with Lashley and R-Truth. It's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I don't understand why they're doing this with the Miz, but it's a good place for John Morrison, I guess.
So I think they're doing this with the Miz right now because he's got his reality show. And it makes him too likable for them to go all in on the heel stuff anymore. But there's not quite... I don't know if he's resistant or if they just don't see him as, a face. I think Miz has got this reality thing going on. Maybe he's likable on that. I think they probably overestimate the crossover between people who watch Miz on the reality show and people who tune in to Monday Night Raw to give a shit. Miz and Mrs. Miz and Mrs. is on E. How many of the fucking
Mrs. and us, basically.
Right? Yeah,
we're not watching that shit, but yeah.
Right. However, I do feel like we're coming up on a time where you might be able to transition Miz into being the John Cena replacement. Not that he will ever be John Cena, but he's better. He's just as good in the ring as John Cena. He's just as charismatic as John Cena, and he's a clean-cut white guy. So a lot of people are gonna fall right behind him real quick. A lot of little kids are going to jump on that bandwagon if you let him do stuff that little kids like. A lot of women are going to jump on that bandwagon because A, he's a good-looking motherfucker, and B, they see him treat his wife well on Ms. and Mrs.
Right.
Like he could jump into that spot not to be John Cena, but as their second-string John Cena.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. What's next?
Next is Bobby Lashley and fucking Drew McIntyre. And let me start this off.
Okay.
Because I watched this video package, and it made me wish that I had been watching Raw every week. The video package was all MVP talking to Bobby Lashley. And, MVP was saying stuff like, you're doing that, I see you doing that, full Nelson, and nobody can escape that full Nelson, and I wonder what would happen if you put that full Nelson on a world champion.
Yeah.
And the storyline was all about moving Bobby Lashley away from the Lana bullshit and into a wrestling storyline, and I really liked the idea of that. So, I watched this whole video package, and I was I got amped up for the match, and I was I wish I had been watching Raw to see this stuff as it was happening. And then the match happened, and I realized, oh, Bobby Lashley is in this match, and he sucks. And it gave me wrestling fucking bipolar disease. No, wrestling pneumonia. It gave me wrestling pneumonia. Wish I had made that joke a lot smoother.
I enjoyed this
I'm gonna edit that so it sounds like I fucking.
I like that.
And it gave me wrestling pneumonia.
I enjoyed this match. I really did. I enjoyed Bobby Lashley, except for when he tried to kill Drew McIntyre by lawn darting him onto the floor.
I mean, that was an accident that could happen to anybody.
Sure.
Like, of all the suck...
But it couldn't happen to Bobby fucking Lashley.
Of all the Bobby Lashley sucking in that match... Man, you are right. He should have... Of all the people who should have been able to pick a dude up and not fucking fall over...
In that fucking
locker
building.
room, yeah.
Yeah.
Should have been Bobby Lashley. You're right. You know what? You know what? I wasn't holding
when that happened, I was like, wait.
So they fought to the outside, and Bobby Lashley scoops him up and like on his shoulders like a fireman's carry, and then they teeter and fall over, and Drew McIntyre almost dies. In case you didn't see the pay-per-view, and I've been giving Bobby Lashley the benefit of the doubt because hey, shit happens. Accidents happens. We all get off balance. But you are absolutely 100% right. If anybody in that entire building should have been able to pick anybody else up in that entire building without fucking falling over, it would have been fucking Bobby Lashley picking up anybody.
Yeah.
But because Bobby Lashley fucking sucks, he almost fell over.
I liked the match. I did.
I thought the match was hot garbage.
I liked Bobby Lashley. I thought they did a good job. I thought that, you know what, like, it's a placeholder match, and I really wish Drew McIntyre would have won this championship when crowds were around and we could have real fucking feuds and all this, but...
So how about this? I think that match was passable in any position except for the World Championship.
Okay.
Mid-card, that match is fine. Opening card, that match is fine. Random
card match.
Random, but it's not. It's the World Championship.
I get it.
It's the world.
I agree
even
with
though it's
you.
not the main event, it's the World Championship.
I agree with you. It
There's
should have been the main
still a
event,
difference.
but, like,
I don't care about placement on the card so much as I care about that it was the main event. Like when I say mid card, I mean like dudes that aren't. That's not mean to say. Not dudes that are important, but mid card caliber. Okay,
that's where it's placed.
Like,
that's
but,
where they were. You know,
but only because of what the main event was. Any other
I mean,
and they're. No, you're wrong.
I'm saying.
You're wrong.
Okay,
you're wrong. They're not. They are not main event. There's more than one main event caliber matches. There are more than two main event guys, even though only two guys were in the main event.
Yeah.
And Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre were not mid-card guys in a mid-card caliber match.
Yes.
They were main event guys.
But
main event guys in a match that wasn't the main event.
Right. But one of them is good enough to be in the main event.
Right.
And one of them is not.
Right.
And he still carried him to a good match.
Disagree. Not with that belt on the line.
Like and subscribe.
Not with that belt on the line.
All right.
In my opinion.
Okay. I love it.
All right. Next, we hit the low point of wrestling history.
Of anything ever.
Yeah.
Let's not do much with this.
Hold on.
God damn.
I say with very little hyperbole.
Hyperbole.
That the segment between the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders and the Tozawa's Ninjas is a low point in wrestling history.
Might be. I
think maybe while I was watching that segment, and
it was bad, man.
It was while I was watching that segment, I started to think that maybe television wrestling, mainstream wrestling, is and has done irreparable damage to itself.
Yeah.
I think that it has crossed the line during this pandemic, doing shows with no crowds and shows with fake crowds and doing all these, even though I liked like the Boneyard match and I liked the Firefly Funhouse, but then we had the stadium match and we've had the Money in the Bank, and now we have this kind of garbage happening. Like, I think maybe mainstream wrestling has damaged itself to a point that it can't necessarily recover from. And I say that in, like, as an indie wrestler, I think that gives us an opportunity to come back, like, to not, you know, all of a sudden, like, we're what wrestling is now. And if you want to watch, you know, if you want to see fucking John Cena, you can watch WWE or whatever. But, like,
we can't do that until we can have crowds back, though. So
I don't think we need to. I think we'll be having shows before the WWE recovers from
with that amount of people,
from the bullshit that they do.
Right. You're right.
And I think there's the chance to have a consensus of, like, you know, our crowds that come see us, right? And then go back and talk to people. Because how many times have you heard fans that are like, I used to watch that wrestling stuff, but it's too silly. And that was before this nonsense.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be now a chance where even devoted fans that have started watching Boneyard matches and fucking Money in the Bank matches and are going, look, I just can't, I don't know if I can anymore.
Right.
And then they're going to hear about, oh, well, you need to come check out these guys at the VFW hall.
Right.
It feels like real wrestling again.
Yeah.
And I think there's a chance for that to come back and people to, you know, come back to indie wrestling.
Yeah.
And I hope you listening,
I think that'd be awesome,
will also come back to indie wrestling and hear that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great, man. I think it's good, and maybe it'll force the WWE to stop pretending like they're making wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, Vince, let me just talk to Vince for a minute here.
Okay.
Vince, I appreciate everything that you've done for the business. And the Attitude Era,
man,
fucking kicked ass, man.
God damn.
But we all know that you fucking hate wrestling. You hated wrestling the day you took it over, and you have not liked wrestling ever since you've run this company. So just stop pretending like you like wrestling. Stop pretending like you make wrestling. I don't know if you want to make 3-hour sitcoms or what you're trying to make. I mean, but just do that. Follow your heart. Vince, I would like to empower you now to follow your heart. Stop pretending like you like wrestling. Stop trying to make wrestling. Follow your heart and make the kind of hot fucking garbage television that you want to make, starring Street Profits and Viking Raiders fighting ninjas, and just let the rest of us who actually like wrestling make wrestling.
Got it.
Jonesy, you have a lot to say about the main event.
Hey, no, we're not there yet.
Oh, yeah, we are.
I want to say this.
Oh,
about Street Profits, Viking Warrior Raiders, war criminals, whatever. Those guys are too talented for that. Way too talented.
I agree.
They did a great job with it. It sucked. The entire thing sucked. Hey, you guys did a great job with everything that sucked. I get that. Like, that's the most backhanded thing I've ever said. But, like, you guys are good sports about that shit. And it was fucking awful. But you guys were good sports, man. Appreciate you guys. All right. Are we ready to get to the main event?
Yeah, we're at the main event. I told you that a minute ago.
Guys, this is the greatest wrestling match ever. So it's billed as... We have Randy Orton, who is the most generic best wrestler of all time.
He's so good, and he makes it boring.
That's no joke. And we have Edge, who's career was cut short 10 years ago when he was fucking 40, like me.
He was
squaring off.
He was younger than that.
Okay, I don't know.
He's only like 45 now. 9 years ago, he was like 36.
Whatever. I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know how old Edge
squaring
is.
off, main event, greatest match of all time.
This match was okay. Here's the diatribe I have.
Okay.
In this time of quarantine, everything like that, we get a little jaded. Okay?
Yep.
And you and me no different. We're
Yep.
not exempt from it. We get a little jaded. We try to judge our wrestling where it's what we want to see, everything like that. But we get the wrestling we get. And we start to doubt the stories we get from wrestling, the stories that we grew up watching, everything like that. And we get jaded. We start doubting. Everything kind of sucks. You know?
Yeah.
This fucking match did nothing to me but reinforce my vision and my overall what I expect from wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It was fucking awesome. And it just reminds you in this time of doubt, this time of uncertainty, this time of I'm so sick and tired of everything, I can't escape from nothing. This match here was wrestling as I've always seen wrestling, and it was fucking awesome. I'd never needed it more than I've needed it now, ever in my life. Because I grew up with wrestling, I've loved wrestling forever. Nothing has ever made me love and get back to the love of wrestling like I have more than this match.
What about it?
It was transcendent. It was old school. It was new school. They were doing shit better than people have done shit in the last 20 years. Okay? And there's a fucking 40-year-old human in there and a 50-year-old human in there, right? Just tearing the fucking walls off the building. It was unbelievable. And I say that with a little bit of nuance and whatever. Like, obviously the match was not the best ever. It was not Michaels and Angle from whatever fucking Mania that was, or a handful of Benoit matches, or a handful of Guerrero matches. But I tell you what, in this day and age, all the shit I've been watching recently, and all the shit we've all been going through collectively in our society, wrestling's is an escape. And I have not seen a wrestling match that has given me that much emotional
catharsis.
Yeah. I mean, it fucking blew me away.
Yeah.
Like, I had forgotten that wrestling was that good. I really did.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't want to, like, oversell a fucking wrestling match, but it was fucking cathartic is the only word I have for it. And I'm getting a little bit emotional talking about this, but that match absolutely made me emotional.
Yeah.
It absolutely made me remember, because we've been hate watching a lot of wrestling. We've had a Money in the Bank that we just shit on a week ago. Guys, if you love wrestling, and in your canon, you have to go watch Edge and Randy Orton from Backlash 2020. And I never thought I would ever say that about anything in 2020 or any Randy Orton match ever. You have got to go watch this match because it is timeless. It is a timeless match of storytelling. It is a timeless match of fucking... We've never seen this before. And we get into... Randy Orton's made fun of NXT guys, and then he fucking just takes over NXT style wrestling. This entire match does. And he just turns it on its head. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, guys. I don't have anything better to say. I'm sure there are flaws in it. I'm sure that I'm a little overly emotional, but that fucking match, to me, reminded me of why we do this, why we love wrestling, why we watch wrestling. You don't see that shit anymore, man. It was awesome. It was so awesome. Awesome.
Guys, I don't think it can be said any better. Wrestling is meant to be the escape. Wrestling is meant to bring you that catharsis. That's the whole reason we have heels and faces, and the reason we do so that you can come and hate the faces, so that you can live through the so that you can hate the heels, so that you come and live.
Not us, though.
So that you can come and live through the faces and have those moments of catharsis. That moment when you can't punch your boss, but you can watch Stone Cold punch, you can watch Stone Cold stun the shit out of Mr. McMahon. When you can't tell that fucking upstart, that guy who thinks he's so much better than you off, but you can absolutely go and watch Ricky Steamboat beat the shit out of Ric Flair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what this is for. And so I don't think it could have been said any better. Go check out that match. You may not need to watch all of Backlash. We broke it down. The rest of it sucks.
That match is an instant classic, guys.
Justin, Jonesy, Go loved the match.
Go
loved the match. So go check out the greatest wrestling match of all time.
Ever!
After you've liked, commented, and subscribed, ring the bell if you're watching us on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you prefer the audio version, we are on Spotify and Google Play and Podbean and the Apple app and all those stuff. Wherever you like to get your podcasts, check it out. Rate us. Do that stuff that gets us all up in that algorithm. Guys, you can find us, our headquarters, our home base, at Drunk Rasslin, DRUNKRASSLIN.com. It's a website. .com.
We still have websites?
And you can find us on Facebook, Drunk Rasslin. You can find us on Twitter, at Drunk Rasslin. But guys, we'll be back next week with some more old wrestling. I'm tired of these current events, Jones.
Yeah, fuck
I'm
this.
tired of these current events,
Fuck
Go
this.
Go.
I got emotional.
I want some
shit.
I want some classics. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, always drink responsibly. We'll see you guys next week.
Cheers, brother.